Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Slobodan, and we're going to basically go through how to increase your sales. And this is going to be a basic level. However, if you're experienced in sales and your sales funnel is working, I'm sure you're going to pick up some really good strategies. This is real world 10 years of me working in sales for, I'm going to say, at least 100 sales funnels that I've worked on in 10 years. And I've probably talked to way more than that business owners. So this is going to be real life examples. And I'm basically going to teach you some strategies, some improvements that you can utilize. And these small improvements a lot of times give you big results. You'll be shocked what a little tweak fixed a campaign that didn't work for 6 months. So you never know. These little improvements can really give you an incredible result. Also, what makes your prospects take action on the offers that you're going to have. And they also are going to have a Q&A at the end. And also, if you want the PowerPoint, if you like it, or the notes, and obviously the recording, that's all going to be available. The recording will be emailed to everybody because LinkedIn collected your email addresses. So I'll send it out usually within 2 working days. I need to just edit out when I'm switching over to mute people. I'm also going to post it on my LinkedIn dashboard, and I'll put it on the blog on monthlymastermind.org. All right. And like I said, at the end, we'll have a Q&A. If there's something that's secret, or you need a non-disclosure signed, like you have a startup, make sure you email me. I'm happy to sign a non-disclosure. I've signed like 500 of them probably over the years, so it's not a problem. I will sign it and keep everything secret that we discuss for your particular business. And then there is a bonus this time. I did the last presentation here on LinkedIn, and the problem that people had is some of them had a sales funnel working, but they couldn't get good quality leads into the top of the sales funnel so they can convert them. I had a surgery in March this year, and I've pretty much been wiped out. For the last few months, I feel better. Actually, the reason I have a raspy voice compared to the last event is I have a chemo pump on me right now, and one of the side effects is this voice. There's all kinds of others, but anyway, hopefully you can hear me. But that's the reason for that. But I've been good enough where I can do these events, and I've done 7 of these strategies that I'll share with you at the end as a bonus. So far, I've done it for 7 employers. I had 100% success rate. And I'll give it to you as a bonus for giving me your valuable time. I don't know how long it's going to work, but right now it's not saturated. I'm going to say 1% of businesses utilize this, what I'm about to show you. All right, and a lot of times people are concerned, who am I to teach, if you're getting good information or not. Before I got sick, I used to go all over the country and teach what I'm teaching you now, plus other things related to sales processes, a lot of website sales and stuff like that, but it's all relevant. And I've been teaching that for 10 years. I've done at least 300 speeches, I would say, in life, and I go to webinar. I just recently switched to Zoom, which I had problems. A lot of people would complain they can't talk to me. So what I've done is I just got this dial pad, and it seems like it's working really well. Last time we had a very good interactive Q&A, so I'm hoping that'll happen again today. I've also worked with 200 plus other speakers, which I've helped develop these strategies. But like I said, it's not just them. I've worked for businesses on various niches. So this will work with 95%. If you're some maybe government contractor for NASA, Skunk Works or something, it might not work. But I haven't run into one yet. And let's get to it. So we're going to start with the end in mind. I'm sure you've heard of this, but it's important to repeat it. When you're developing a complicated sales funnel with upsells, downsells, split testing, tracking, and all of that, you really want to have a goal that you're going towards. And if you don't know where you want to end up, it's going to be hard to reverse engineer the whole sales funnel in the steps for you to get to that finish line. So I said, start with the end in mind, because a lot of times it's not the sales. A lot of times on a bigger, more complicated, more expensive projects, um, you might have to actually accomplish meetings with the board, or if it's a nonprofit, they have very complicated procedures, but they still have a sales funnel even for nonprofits. But you want to know what you want to accomplish. Sometimes it's just an appointment, sometimes it's a sale, sometimes it's for you to get a job, sometimes it's for you just to sell a e-commerce product on your Shopify store. Start with that end in mind, and then you're going to reverse engineer how you're going to get there. That's really what I see. A lot of people skip this, even though Covey, I forgot his first name, he preaches this a lot in his books. Start with the end in mind. So this is where I got that. But I always repeat it because I've seen about half the business owners do not, they start from the beginning and they try to work themselves to the end. And by then, their whole complicated funnel is going in the wrong direction. It's hard to pivot. I found it easier if you know the end result, then you can have some milestones, and then you get the beginning is then it's become self-aware. Okay. Now, the thing that's going to make the sales work much, much better is if you do the preparatory work, because a lot of people, they go straight into the end sales. There's no preparation. And what happens is they cannot get the deal, they cannot get the customer, they cannot get anything. A lot of times you can be Tony Robbins, the best salesperson on the planet. Let's assume he is. I don't know if he is or not, but I always hear like he's a great sales guy. He might not be able to sell because he had some preparatory work done before he gets to that, $50,000 or $100,000 Tahiti resort. There's all kinds of prep work. So what we're going to cover, and I'll have in more detail, but I want to list a few of them that would be ideal if you can prepare, because it's going to make the sales close much, much, much easier. And it's going to be less aggressive, less invasive, less pushy, and so on. So those, some of them that are important is to kill the objections. So as you go through your sales funnel and you learn your customers and you learn everything, you're going to know what the objections are. So through the preparatory stages, and I'll go over how, is you're going to be killing those objections. You're going to be answering them, you're going to be explaining them, and so on. You also want to establish yourself as a likable person, and I'll show you what that means. I put kill objections twice. I need to fix that. And keep going back to the sales prep and add all the problems and the objections that you learn, because you don't know all of them up front. This can be improved for years to come. Every time you discover something new that you hear from your prospect, they mention something, find out where in the preparatory stages of your sales funnel you can put those in to help you not deal with it at closing, because that's the worst time to deal with problems. And then what I would recommend before you even start, if you're just building it, this is especially important. But also, if you're not getting the results that you want, if your close ratio is not the percentages that you want, what I've discovered has helped is I ask my employers is, who are your 3 biggest competitors? Then I have lots of software like SpyFu, Ahrefs, and so on, and I'll plug them in, and I'll kind of look at what they're doing. And I don't call this really spying. What they call it now is competitive intelligence. This is nothing illegal because we're not going to steal anything. We just want to see like what's worked for them over the years. And a lot of times that's self-evident through the software that you can look at. And what you're going to do is get an idea what kind of sales funnel they're running, what kind of steps they have. And what I have clients do often is hire what's called a mystery shopper. Have them videotape the screen as they're going and buying, so you can kind of look at it and get an idea of what their sales funnel is like. Now, don't steal their sales funnel. That is illegal. but use that as a motivation to do a better job than they are. But if you're out of ideas, or if you're not sure, or you're stuck, or you're just starting, this is a good way to really get some of that inspiration that you need for your sales funnel. Is look at what's working for the number one, number two, number three competitors out there, see what they're doing. I always recommend to do that. So you want to make sure that you're selling to the right prospect. Now, a lot of times what I've discovered, I'll give you an example actually. I had a guy who was getting literally 1,000 people coming to his website each and every single day, and he had 0 sales. He had more than 1,000 because I put in Google Analytics, and he was just getting this junk traffic. He would buy these. He would buy this traffic from some Indian agency, and I think it was all a scam. They were like robots. Well, you can have tons of traffic that's not the right traffic, especially if it's these bots. But even if you're an insurance agent, okay, and you're trying to sell life insurance, but you're getting teenagers from TikTok who are clicking on an ad and coming, odds are you're never going to make a sale. Excuse me. So you want to make sure that you have the market match. So your message has to match the right market. Now, the way to find out, so you're going to have to do a little bit of again, intelligence review to find out if you're having the right people. So you can send out surveys to all your prospects. Like, for example, everybody who registered for this event, I have your emails. I could theoretically send out a survey. I don't need to do that because LinkedIn gives me that data. I know you guys are targeted. If you do the tip I'm going to give you at the end, you won't need to do this step. However, if you have a Shopify store, or if you're doing something on your website, or if you're doing direct response mail, like the old school where you mail stuff, or Google Ads or whatever, I'd recommend do a survey periodically. You can also just email some questions. You want to make sure that you're talking to the right people. And sometimes just jump on a phone call. You'd be shocked what you can accomplish. I always, if I can, I go on the phone, talk to people, and then after they get comfortable, they'll really tell you if they're the right person or not. And if it's not the right prospect, you'll need to figure out how to get the right traffic to your funnel. Or you might just start from scratch, just do a totally brand new traffic source. And clarify your entire sales funnel. What do I mean by that? Anybody who's confused, your confused prospect is one who's never going to take action or rarely take action. So what you got to ensure is from the beginning of this whole process that you totally clarify everything from the beginning to the end, that it's very, very clear, that nothing is confusing, that they totally understand 100% of what every message through your entire sales process is. Now, your sales process might just be a one-to-one meeting, and then that's still a sales process. During that meeting, everything that you speak, you have to be careful that they fully understand it. However, in today's technology age where we're less one-on-one and we have more of these webinars like this one, we have more phone calls, and we have more group sales, or even we have a seminar, that whole process, however you're talking to your prospect, might be even emails, by the way, all of that has to be clear. Even if you're sending out autoresponders in email, they must be clear. Again, this is another reason where you might want to get those mystery shoppers, and then instead of sending them to your competitor, send them to you. Make them record it, go through your whole sales funnel, and then articulate, because it might be clear to you 100%, but it's not 100% clear to your prospect, and you're not aware. So you want to become aware and that this is totally clear. So you want to fix this, but the only way you're going to be aware is if some stranger looks at it and then makes you aware of what they're not clear on. So, however, if you're getting the numbers that you want, then you're good to go. You can skip this step. Now, you want to kill objections before you get to the offer. So the way I found the best way to kill objections. Now, what do I mean by objections? Like, for example, depending on what kind of sale you're trying to make. Sometimes it'll mean I need to talk to my partners. I need to talk to my wife. I don't have enough money. I'm not ready right now. Let me think about it. So you want to start compiling these. What I have my employers do is write down the most common objections they can think of, and then we'll start a Google Doc. And as they run into a new objection, they put it in. Then I'll have meetings and I'll give them, like, if I've ever dealt with that objection for other employers, I'll tell them like what has overcome that, or at least with the most percentage success rate. However, you want to try to do that before you get to the close. Killing objections at the close is the hardest place to kill it. That's when you don't want to do it. However, if it gets there, then you still want to do it. It's better something than nothing. The best time to kill an objection is in the preparatory stage. Now, let me tell you how you do that. Is you want to tell a story. Like, for example, if the objection is let me think about it, if you're getting a lot of those, what you want to do is tell a story that, for example, like I sold website and I wanted them to make a decision right then and there. Because if they leave, they're not going to buy a website from me. They're going to think about it, and they're going to go and find some agency who's going to close them right then and there, and then I won't get the sale. So I don't want that to happen, of course. So what I do is I build in a story is that we have, a skilled team of designers in East Europe. We have fantastic web developers, and they do a custom job for you. But the bandwidth is a factor. So I slip that in, which is true. By the way, you don't want to lie. Any of these stories have to be true. Bandwidth for a website is a problem. Today, it's less of a problem. We have all these WordPress, but I did this 10 years ago. There was less of this automation like before in plugins and all of that. So we had to do a lot of custom programming for websites. Now, this is even more like when I sell software, that's even more important, which it is today. Like I have some employers that sold apps. So I use this objection for them is have built in where they tell you, we're building these custom apps. The people who are doing it, they have bandwidth. So you want to think of some stories that apply to you and try to weave it in either into your emails, if you're sending autoresponder on your website, in your video sales letter, into your videos, into your one-on-one talk, into your group talk on the seminar, into your webinar. Try to build in some stories for the most common objections. If you do that, that surpasses that barrier that they have for resistance, and it goes right to the subconscious. It's proven that the stories are the best way to get the message across, because somehow it gets through. Because since the dawn when we were cavemen, we love to sit around the fire in the cave and listen to stories. Well, it works in sales. And then if you can, not everybody can, sell results. Really, when someone hires me to work for them, they immediately, most of the time, ask me what kind of results I can get them. They want to know that they're buying results. And then I try to, best to my ability, kind of portray a picture of the type of results I can get them. Now, I have a client who does keto weight loss. In some jurisdictions, legally, you're not allowed to give results. And I think it's also like in finance, you're not allowed to guarantee results, like Bernie Madoff, who was guaranteeing. I think they have laws. So you want to check with your lawyer if you're allowed to do that. But if you're allowed to, and it's legal, and you can, if you can sell a result, that'll give you one up on your competitors. So think of that. If you can, build up some type of results. If you can't, then the closest you can do it legally, that'll help you prepare for the close, because that's a very powerful trigger for them to take action. And then try to make your sales funnel very special. In other words, what do I mean by that? For example, this is special. You came to my LinkedIn training. So if I was to make you an offer, which I'm actually not, but if I was selling something at the end, and I will eventually, but right now I'm just slowly getting back into after my 2 years of being gone, is slowly getting back into this. So I will make a sales offer because this is going to be like a Kindle book. It's going to be a course and it's going to be coaching. I don't have that today, but at some point I will, when I make the offer, it's going to be because you were on this event and that makes it special. So think about how can you make it special? We're there in a live event, in a webinar, seminar. Are you doing a book launch? Well, a book launch, that makes it special. So they're participating, and then in that book, because you helped me, you left me a review, I give you this and this, whatever that is. Important day, that makes it special, like Black Friday, 4th of July, and so on. Or what's also very special, a lot of times when I used to speak, I go around the country, I'd get invited by a Chamber of Commerce, an association, a trade show. I always made the offer based on that. I have averaged 33%, like when I had a group special offer close rate. I've actually closed quite a few times over 50%. And that's because I made it special and they believed it and they invited me. So I had some credibility from the association that invited me to speak at their event. And then I was able to make that special offer. So think of it, what can you make your sales funnel to be special to them? That's not a lie, but it's true. If you can accomplish that, it's going to really increase your sales dramatically. So try to build that in if you can. All right. Also, now this won't apply to everybody, but if you have any kind of human interaction, even if it's a video interaction, like if they watch your video, if it's a podcast or they hear your audio, or even if you send out email, the tone of email, or even the sales copy on your website, you need to be likable. So keep in mind, text itself, the way you write, the tone you are writing in, you needs to make you likable. Or your company, if this is not you as a person, it has to be likable. If you have a sales team and they do it, they need to be likable. Now, what do I mean by that? Is you can't have any kind of arrogance. Don't be arrogant in any kind of communication. Don't be passive aggressive. Don't give opinions. This has become, in the last year, I see a lot of people getting canceled online. Don't have an opinion because you don't know what the wrong opinion is. So I've learned just to stay out of opinions of any way, shape, or form. I just focus on what my mission is. Like my mission here is to help you with your sales funnel. That's it. I'm staying out of any opinions here because I don't want to be an unlikable person. So try to think of that. Don't be rude. You'd be shocked how many times I've seen my employers be rude. I've reviewed their call because I'll have them record it. I'll review their, I'll jump on their Zoom, go to webinar, and the rudeness will come out sometimes. It's rare, but it does. Then they're shocked they don't have any sales. So the reason I'm saying this is they will dismiss you without even telling you. And if they don't like you, they're not going to take action. It's simple as that. They have tons and tons of competitors to go to. So try to be likable. I cannot stress this enough. The other thing you want to do is you want to remove all the risk that you humanly can. People, your prospects, they are risk adverse. In other words, they don't want any risk. Now, sometimes they know they have to take risk. Excuse me. So you want to reverse that risk as much as humanly possible. How do you do that? So you can do money back guarantee. Develop some type of a bulletproof guarantee that you humanly can. So those could be, if you can't give them money back, you can do exchange. Over in Europe, they laughed at me. I went to buy a phone when I was in Europe. And I said, can I return this and get my money back? Or actually, I said, how many days do I have to return it to get my money back? The guy literally was in shock, like a deer in a headlight. So I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I bring you back the phone, you give me my money. How many days do I have? I said, we don't do that. Well, nobody in the entire country does that. So the best I could get is I had like 14 days to bring it back and they'll give me a new phone. Yeah. So exchange if you can't do a money back. The other things is they also offer me to fix the problems for 2 years. And you can also give a lifetime guarantee. I have a 1987 Dodge Ram is my car, and I put a bed in it to sync solar. So the components that I bought, the reason I picked them is I got a lifetime guarantee on some of the components for the solar that I put in my van. That made me buy and take action over the other ones. So if you can do that, that'll be fantastic. Sometimes you can't. I have seen 200% money back. Now, the only way you can do that is if you know your numbers extremely well after years of optimizing your sales funnel. If you know what your ROI is, return on investment, and say you get it to a very high rate and your return rate is very low, you're extremely confident, it's all working perfectly, then you can actually offer a 200% money back guarantee. In other words, that's going to be a very powerful close. Very few people, 1 out of 1,000, do this kind of thing. But if you do that, that's going to portray confidence in your sales offer, and you're going to have a huge bump in your closing ratio. I am thinking about doing that down the road. Right now, I'm not doing it, but I am thinking about doing that down the road. So think of it if you can pull it off. Don't do it in the beginning if you're early, and don't do it if you don't know your numbers. And then I'll tell you what I started doing, and this has bumped my numbers, and it's a low risk for me. So when people hire me, most of the time I used to charge a month up front for the work. Say it's $4,000. It's $4,000 up front. A lot of people, they don't want to risk $4,000 when somebody they just met. So what I've done is instead of $4,000, it's $1,000 a week. Or say if it's $2,000, it's $500 a week. Well, what I do, and this is brand new, I've only done it for a month, I think. I'll say at the end of the week, so I'm not asking up front. If you do the weekly, I'll take the risk. Then I'll send you an invoice for $500. But if you tell me you're not happy, then I won't even, not only that you won't pay me, I won't even send you the invoice. That has worked fantastically. I have zero, but I've only done this for about a dozen people. I had zero return. Zero people take me up on the offer, but it's bumped my close ratio quite a bit. So I don't know if you can work that in, but think about how you can lower their risk, your prospects. These are some ideas I gave you. You can think of others. Reciprocity. In the preparatory stage, if you can give anything that is perceived as of value, gift, even like education, a lot of times subconsciously, and this is, you can read a book on Amazon, Cialdini, The Power of Influence. He talks about this reciprocity. If you give somebody something that they see of value, they're going to subconsciously feel like they're obligated to pay you back. This has been proven. So now what can you give? I don't know. You might be able to give them some gifts. Like even if you don't get a deal, I've seen people mail them, like on send out cards. You can literally send them a thank you card and a cookie, and then it'll mail it. It's all done for you. It takes like a few minutes. You can have your assistant do it. And I've seen people recover the lost sale, especially if this is a higher ticket item. They'll mail the card. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you, to get to know you. And I just want to show you how much I appreciate your valuable time. I included a little brownie. I hope you enjoy it. Take care, Bob. Guess what? Sometimes Bob will call back. Not sometimes, a lot of times. So think of some reciprocity. This presentation is perceived by a lot of people as reciprocity because they perceive it as I'm not holding anything back. I give the best information. I hold nothing back with no expectation. And a lot of times you'll see a month later, a week later, a day later, people go to my LinkedIn or they'll send me an email and say, Dan, can we speak? And I'll end up getting hired. And I didn't give a brownie or a card. I think the only thing I can think of is, I gave everything for your time. I didn't hold anything back, as hopefully you will see. The other thing that's extremely, extremely important is to build some type of scarcity if you can. Now, let me give you an example. The first time I saw eBay in my life, I would go bid on something. I'd be shocked. Say, for example, it's $100. The thing would sell for $150. Now, this is before there was a buy now button. People would get crazy, but because they believed in the scarcity, there was one item, there was an end date, they were required to take immediate action. And they will just go crazy. So the question is, how can you build scarcity in your sales funnel? Now, what you're trying to accomplish is, if you don't do this, often the response that you're going to get is, I will get back to you. Well, that means never. So some type of a limited quantity, end date, but it must be true. Okay, it must be true. Now, the way I've done it, when I used to sell websites and software and well, those things, let's use that example since we used it already. When I get to the proposal page, even though I built it into the story, now I get to drive it home. So what I would say is, Bob, so this is, if I can get this done for $4,000, let me talk to the team, make sure I have the availability. I will send you the proposal. Can I earn your business? And he says, well, yes. Get back to me, Dan. So I will get back later this afternoon, tomorrow, whatever. But when I get back, I say, I will then put like a 48-hour, and then I'll tell them why. And I don't lie. I say, listen, right now I have 2 team members who are going to do the coding. I got designers and I got the copywriter. Well, that's all true. And he believes me that it's true. And that's why there's a 48-hour scarcity. It's not a lie. Because I even then tell him, let me know if you can't, because then I need to utilize the resources with someone else. That puts a little bit of pressure, but it's not that used car salesman pressure, because I explained it. He understands it. The employer I work for, they have a business to run, so they need to keep all those programmers employed. So that's how I developed their sales process. Is I always try to build in scarcity without lying. So you need to think of what is true and how to convey that in a story, and then how to convey that later at a closing. If you are not, obviously, if you do everything right, a lot of times they'll say, Dan, I'm hiring you. You want that, or I want to buy your widget or your service, whatever you're selling. If you get that, you don't have to do that at the end. So that's ultimately what you want to do. The other trigger, and Cialdini talks quite a bit about this, is social proof. A lot of times people will not take action if they're the first one. So what you want to do is either have some testimonials, tell some stories about people who have done this, so they know that they're not the first one. So try to have if you can get real social proof. This is why you see too much social proof. Now, that is worn out because people less believe it. They just think it's fake now. So this is why I think the story, again, is better. If you tell a real story, especially if you're talking one-on-one, or if you do a webinar, just tell one story about somebody who's done this and what it's done for them, okay? So think of that and build that into the preparatory stage. And then if you are in the internet, or in the you have autoresponders, or you have a sales copy, or you have a long form sales letter, try to build in some, first it has to be real, but build in the social proof. If you're just starting, don't worry about it. Give a discount to somebody if you get their permission to be the social proof. And that's how I got the first few when I was selling websites. I just gave them a discount and ask them if they'll give me a truthful feedback and if I can use it. I think I got 50% of them to do it, and then at that point I just stopped. And then the other thing, this might not be possible for you, but if it can, try to be an authority. Now you would think, well, authority, it's a license by the government, something like that, certification. It doesn't have to be that. Simply by doing a webinar, teaching will make you an authority. Believe it or not, you might not think of an authority, but subconsciously, a little bit, I become an authority just because I did this presentation. Now, that's not the only way. You can write a Kindle book. I have a friend, she actually has done books for a lot of my clients. She's actually doing one for one of my very first clients from 7-8 years ago. And she's writing a book for him right now as we speak. So he can put it up on Amazon. It helps him become more of an authority. Even though everybody has a book, believe it or not, it's just a little bit more. If you have any type of certification, and sometimes you can get those easily, find out in your niche if there's types of certification that you can go through, that you can get it. That's great. And again, just teach, teach, care, and they'll see you as an authority. Very important. If you can build that in, that's going to help with your sales. Now, at the end, when you get to the close, and this is especially important if you're selling on the internet, on your website, you want to make it easy. You'll be shocked how difficult some of the employers, when they hired me, and they had horrible sales numbers. Like they'll have 100 people come to the website, they'll make one sale. Well, they make them register. They fill this thing out. They have to create an account. They have to go back to the email. They have to convert. They approve. They have to come back. Then they have to go fill up their PayPal. They have to link to their PayPal. And then they check. I mean, it was like a nightmare. So if you can make it simple, one click, then the easiest you can make it, the better. And you're going to get a more conversion rate. I know this is obvious, but I have to mention it because I still get to see where this is not done. And I've had actually a couple of employers as these cryptocurrencies come out, where they literally one click, tap the phone, paid. Obviously, this is a small percentage of the population with these digital currencies, but I've seen that really do wonders and skyrocket the sales. This is going to be probably something 10 years down the road, but I just want to mention it because I see some of that is being part of your sales funnel mix, is some of these upcoming digital currencies. I actually heard that there's going to be a digital dollar in the next year, so it might be tap on the phone in front of the website, one click and you're out. So think about all these things, how you can make it easy. Google Pay, Apple Pay, can you utilize any of these? And then one of the most important things is people don't buy on facts, how many widgets you have, how many features you have. A lot of times it's an emotional thing that makes them pull the trigger. So later they'll justify it with facts, like they'll buy something impulsively, then they'll go to their wife and say, well, honey, I bought it, and then they'll go through all the facts. But that's not why they bought it. They bought it on emotion. So you want to try to imagine what it is. What was that emotion? So in those stories that you tell, if you can portray that emotion, like for example, I'm working with this keto diet coach. Well, we're trying to portray a picture of how it is at the end of the keto diet. How you're going to feel because, they're hungry. Well, when the keto diet, it's opposite. The keto diet, you're not hungry because it's a different type of diet. And it's not like carb driven where you burn out and you're hungry right away and you get your insulin spike. Here, the food that you take lasts sometimes half a day. And if you combine it with intermittent fasting, it lasts days. Well, you try to paint that emotion of not being hungry. Because a lot of people, I used to be 300 pounds. A lot of people have never felt that. They're constantly hungry. I used to grab a Coke and immediately jog down to kill that insulin spike. Well, how would, the first time they painted this picture with keto and intermittent fasting, I was like, oh my God, if I could not feel hungry, that would make my weight loss journey easier. So, can you paint a picture of the benefit or the problem that you're solving and how that make them feel? It can't be done every time, but if you can, think of it. And then make this as targeted as possible. If you can make it targeted to that person and that person alone, then that will convert incredibly well. Now, it cannot be done every single time. If you can't do it for a person, can you do it for a niche? Now, what I mean for a niche, like for example, say realtor, and they're targeting absentee owners who are landlords and their house is destroyed. And that's a very specific target. I've actually done that campaign for a realtor. And then now it doesn't work, not everybody's house is destroyed, but they all had problem tenants and they're in Michigan and the house is in Florida. Guess what? If that's the case, that's extremely targeted. That gets a great response. So what is it that you have, like something that you can target them? Brainstorm that, write it down, and if you can do that, you'll see your rates go up. All right, that actually concludes my presentation. I'm going to open it up to questions and answers. You'll be able to unmute yourself and ask, or you can type it. However, like I said earlier, you can go and message me on LinkedIn. I am Dan Slobodan on LinkedIn, which is linkedin.com/in/DanS41. There's a feedback form. You can fill it out there. And then I'm also do a non-disclosure. If you have something super secret, I will do that. Now, if we have just common questions, we'll do it right now. And before we get into that, I'm just going to go to LinkedIn real quick, just to show you how you can connect to me. Oh, and they're going to give you the bonus after the Q&A. So if you go to LinkedIn, there's only two of us, Dan Slobodan, Slobodan. I'm the one that has got funnels. That's me. All right, let's go to the Q&A. So if you want to do a Q&A, just unmute yourself and ask. If not, yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, hey Dan. First of all, sorry about that. First of all, really appreciate all the information you shared with us. Really insightful. Definitely gave me some things to think about. I am on the team. I'm not the final decision maker, and so I think there's some things there I'm gonna have to carefully bring up also, right? With
sure.
But as I said, really insightful, really helpful to me. I appreciate you, appreciate the information, appreciate your experience. And I did have one question about, like, for us, what we seem to run into is we're not always talking to the main decision maker. And one of the things in all the things, like you said, getting into emotion, killing a lot of the objectives beforehand. I'm not sure if I missed it, but I think sometimes it's like they got to take this back to the final decision maker. And so, and I know we got to probably work harder on getting the final decision maker in the first meeting. So maybe you can help us a little bit on that. What's something where you can really get that person on your team and say, hey, look, because they're going to kind of go back and present this for us, right?
Okay, so I have two ways. So let me go. So one of the two ways is, let me show you the bonus, because I promised a bonus. So let's do that. So, and then I'll give you a second way if you don't do this tactic. This is something brand new that I discovered recently. So if you can develop a presentation for because I'm assuming you're in the sales and for your company, you don't have to tell me what the product is, but I'll just use, let's just say websites. I've used that. Let's assume you're selling websites and your high-end, expensive, customized websites or apps. You often need to get their final decision maker to buy that because it might be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. So what I would do And this is brand new. I've managed to do this for a lot of people. Now watch this. So let's go apps, and then you go to these events, and fasting. I don't know if it's a webinar, Power Apps for Beginners. But let's say you know how to customize your apps for a insurance company, or how to, let's just say, or how to customize your software. And it doesn't have to be targeted for your organization. You got to come up with some kind of a hook because you want them to come. Now, what we can do then is we can, with Sales Navigator, we can target the decision maker directly and skip the gatekeeper, skip the middleman, and then they're going to raise their hand, the final decision maker, and that'll get us through. Now, so that's the bonus I want to give you. I did 7 of these for other employers in the last 4 months. Every single time I did this, we've had success. And the leads we generated, we averaged 25% close ratio because we always got the decision maker to raise their hand, even if they didn't show up. Like I have 50 people register and 4 or 5 show up, but all the 50 will get their recording. So out of that, I'll get, say, 3 appointments out of that. I had the last guy did this. We had 100 people register, 23 showed up, but then he got 3 more appointments for the others, and they were all decision makers. So this works so far. It's not saturated. Now, let's assume that's not the case. Well, let's just assume you're calling, or they fill out your form, or you're emailing, but it's not the right person. Say it's somebody who works for the CEO, or it's just somebody in a big Fortune 500 company. There's like 2, 3, 4 steps. Well, what you want to do is you need to basically sell the real sales. You need to like build your story so well that you cannot do the solution or the benefit for them without the decision maker. And then you got to get really good at finding out who that is without asking directly. So you just got to get better at. And what I recommend is get some sales books, go slowly through them, and you know how to get to the decision maker, how to get to the right person, who to talk to in the sales. There's a lot of these, but eventually, through trial and error and through education, you'll figure out how to talk, because you got to do this through the conversation. There's really no way to script this. If they, I'll give you some examples. Let's just say you're cold calling and you get the gatekeeper. That's the hardest one. You got to get past the gatekeeper. But that doesn't mean that the person who picks up is the decision maker. That's an assistant to the chief marketing officer or the chief technical officer. Say you're selling networking, you need the chief technical officer, but you don't get him. You get his assistant. Well, that's not who you want to pitch to. So you really got to now be able to talk to that person and not tell the whole thing, because she is not going to do a good job for you. All you want to do is sell an appointment with the right person. So you got to give enough of a story that he'll be interested. And then the way we have overcome that, I'll give you a real life way, is what we have done. I've done this for a number of employers over the years, is we literally have mailed and emailed, and then when the telemarketer has cold called, if this is a cold call, and that's really the worst way to do this, but if some people just do cold calling and it does work, in the long run, if you have really good cold callers, you can get through. But what we did is we used that particular piece of marketing was on the desk for Bob, and we got Mary to talk to us and say, is Bob available? Or they'll say, I need to talk to Bob. What about? That's what you want. Oh, and then you're going to have to make this kind of curiosity driven. Oh yeah, it's the Bob was looking into, and I don't know if you are selling software for the app for his financial services. I just want to go over the app real quick. I just need 5 minutes of his time, make sure he got it. He was able to open it. Well, what's Mary going to do? She has no idea what you're talking about. And he say, okay, what's your number to get back? Or whatever it is. You're going to have to work through creatively without lying, because you're not lying if you send that over to Bob. Does that make sense? I mean, there's many ways, but this is one of them, just to kind of give you an idea. Does that help?
Yeah, that was helpful. Thanks, Dan.
Okay. And like I said, this is Alex. Alex, if you want, there's a messenger on that. If you want to go into the specific, message me like roughly what you're selling or whatever, and a non-disclosure if it's secret. And then me and you can do like a 15, 20, 30 minute, and I can give you better examples. I've done this for 10 years. I'm pretty creative, as you can tell, hopefully. But anyway,
Yeah,
thank you for the question, Alex. You have a good day. Take care.
thanks you as
All right.
well.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to go.
No, no, go,
I
go.
had only 30 minutes for this. Obviously, I stayed on,
I
and so
appreciate
just
it.
want to let you know that that's what I'm going to be headed out. But
Thank you,
thanks, Dan.
Alex. The reason I
We'll
do
be in
this is
touch.
just really for the YouTube.
Got it. Got it.
All right. Take
Yeah.
care, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye.
Pleasure.
All right. Anybody else? And then we're going to finish this. Hi, Usman. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
How are you
Yes.
doing today? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Pakistan.
Oh, nice, nice. Islamabad or
Thank you.
somewhere else?
Somewhere else like Lahore, from Lahore.
Lahore. Yep. I love
Yeah.
travel channels. I've actually watched quite a few episodes from Lahore. Well, thank you for your time and attending. I really appreciate your time. Tell me what kind of question you have and see if I can help you.
Okay, so I joined this meeting quite late, so I didn't listen all the lecture. So I just know the title of this meeting, like how you can make your sales get higher in the next level. So currently, I am running a business just like that. I am working in a tech company. We are just selling the courses in Pakistan to our local market, like. We are covering the topics like competitive exams, CA, intermediate metric level exams. Just we are covering from school level to college level, and now we are moving to the university level courses. We record the lectures and then we will sell online in Pakistan. So my question is that we are doing the digital marketing for to market our courses in Pakistan, like on Facebook, on Google, on YouTube, and plus email marketing. So what I have noticed, like our sales are just now on a constant level. They are not like growing more. They are growing up to a certain limit, but now they are constant. So how can we make our graph vertically grow more higher to the next level? Uh, any suggestions if you can provide me?
Absolutely.
Thank
That's a great question, Usman. So let me ask you just before I answer one or two questions that'll give me a chance to give you a better answer. Your target audience,
Okay.
is it a student at school, college, university, or is it the school itself?
Actually, we are providing the courses in a wide range from school level to university level. So we
But
are
does the
covering.
university buy it from you, or does the student buy it from you, or both?
Okay. So the students are not actually buying the courses. Actually, the university graduated students, after completing their graduation, they are willing to attempt the competitive exams in Pakistan. Like if you wanna be the assistant commissioner in police or in administration department, then you can attempt the competitive exams, and then you will be hired at 16 grade officer in government.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the people are targeting.
That helps me. Thank you. So if I want to be I've just finished the university and I would be a police commissioner or just start off in the police
Yes.
for Pakistan, I would have to take a government exam. You help me prepare so I can pass it. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Now the next question is, do I pay for this service from you? I get my credit card and I pay you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, so let me answer that. That now I know. Thank you. So here's a couple of things I would do. So first, I'm pretty sure you have at least one or two or three competitors. I would do the competitive intelligence. I will send you the recording of this because I covered that a little bit, but I'll go over it with yours as an example. So I would look at what they are doing, you can use like SpyFu, Ahrefs, Moz. There's other tools. I have a bunch of them. And if you want to schedule a one-on-one next week or the week after, I can kind of plug in and do it for you and show you. Second, I'm going to show you a couple of things you can do right off the bat. So let me go over, I want to show you this one. So this is called Quora, and I bet you, if you did, if you look at some questions where they ask, you want to find out where these students are asking questions. It could be on Quora. You mentioned YouTube, so you already got that covered. You might have to do some SEO so they find your articles, but here they often, I don't know if this will have it, but in Pakistani, if you write in, um, you know, govern, I'm going to misspell it, government. I'm going to do it in English just so you get an idea. Exams,
Okay,
government exams, and then say you go questions. Now I bet you this is in multi languages, so hopefully it's in Pakistani as well. And then you
yes,
go
yes.
past year, and unfortunately we don't have any exams. Let's just go with exams right now. You're gonna have to fiddle around with this till you get the right
You
thing.
can you
Yeah, go ahead.
if I can help you, you can type CSS exam in Pakistan, then you will get the better idea what are the actually people are asking about the
Okay.
our course.
Okay. What is the best magazine for CSX exam? Solve CF exam
Yes,
test.
near peer. So this near peer is where I am talking about the business. Is near peer providing the solve CSS exam and past papers? The near peer
Oh
is
yeah,
providing
yeah, 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 right there.
the
Okay,
courses.
perfect. So what you want to do? All right, let me tell you first a story. I've actually had an employer who he was selling a very niched search engine optimization. I want to say what it is so I don't give away his niche. He had a very low budget, and what he did is, and it took him 6 months. He basically created an account here, and he would answer that specific niche, just like yours. He would answer
Okay.
every day. He did a lot, but I actually have another client I'm trying to close next week or the week after, and I'm having her just start with one question a day. She has limited time. And what you want to do is look for these every day. Just do one a day. It'll take you 5 minutes. Let me show you. I just started doing this myself to pick up some work because when I get a job like on a freelancing site, they take 20%. But when I get a job here or I get a job like this on LinkedIn, I pay 0%. So this is something that I started doing for me. I've never done it. But just to show you one, I do only one question a day for 2 months. Look at this. 4,014. I'm slowly starting to, getting upvotes and I'm getting followers. So this, I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm getting about 10 to 20 people come to my site from this because I see it on Google
Okay.
Analytics. I think this might help
Good.
you. I'll come up with more if you want to book something next week or the week after, and then me and you can talk. Let me give you my data. So it's Dan at monthlymastermind.org. It's this one at LinkedIn, Dan Slobodan. Just make sure we're connected and you can message me. I check every day once. But does this help you?
Yes.
Okay. It's a little bit. Obviously, we need to like dig deeper into to see how we can because you're plateaued from your sales. So what we want to do
Yes.
is get a couple of new channels so now you can expand.
Yes, we'll definitely work on it, and we will talk to you later, inshallah. So I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, near peer is doing a very great job in Pakistan in tech industry.
Okay.
So what actually we want our presence on multiple channels, just like on Quora, we are working on it right now. Also on YouTube, we have a lot of content over there. Also, we are doing the SEO for our website from the last 10 months. We have just started the SEO, and paid marketing. We are doing the paid marketing from the last 3 years.
Okay.
So we are making a very good revenue from all these platforms. So this time we want to create our presence on the Wikipedia for just on the Wikipedia. We work on it like to create some information over there, add some valuable information, but uh, we are unable to create our page on the Wikipedia. So, if you can guide me, how can we make our presence on the Wikipedia on a professional page, just like the Udemy is performing? In the same scenario, we are go on the Wikipedia. So, I just tried to create the page, but we have just unable and all in vain.
Yeah, I'll tell you how
There are
I
some
did
points.
that for clients because that gives you like super high quality backlinks for your SEO, search engine optimization. I always would go, what I would do is subcontract it and I would pre-screen the person who's going to do it. I've never ever done it because that one is very hard to get approved. It has to be high quality, has to be high information. There's all kinds of rules and regulations for them to accept it. You or I are not skilled enough. We need someone who's done it for 10 years. And, if you don't know how to find the right person and screen on, I've done it before. So you can just pay me a small fee and I will do all the work. And then once I pick the person, I'll get your final approval and I'll tell you why. And but yeah, let's talk about that. I wouldn't jump on that right now. You can get the backlinks much easier than Wikipedia. And then I would say the other thing you can do is find a similar. It doesn't have to be Pakistan. It could be in India or some other country where they do a similar service. Take a look at their Wikipedia entry, and we're going to use that as our starting point. And then we're going to do a better job, and then we're going to hire someone who has had their submissions go through. So that will be the process.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I'm going to end this. Thank you guys so much and have a great day. And I appreciate your time more than anything else. Take care.